Brian. And I'm Nathan. This is the At Odd Show. Please listen.
Forget what you learned in school. Never mind what your parents told you, and disregard what your friends say. From now on, the only people you need to listen to are these guys. For the next several minutes, they'll take you on a journey through the political jungle. And when your journey is over and you're safe at home, they promise you'll be stronger, smarter, and just plain better. So buckle up, hang on to your ears, because your journey starts now.
Well, hello, Brian.
Hi, Nate. You caught me a little off guard.
I know.
I thought we were going to have something there in the end, but
You were sleeping there. No, see, what happened is I was going to do what I did at the beginning, and I didn't. So,
you didn't do what you were going to do at the beginning, so
no,
you didn't?
I did not, but hey, thanks for tuning in to At Odds, everybody. Once again, we're gearing up for a wonderful show.
I think they're aware.
Yeah, I think they could tell. Those
aware.
two idiots are talking. I do want to start with something very, very important. I've been contemplating this for months now.
I know you have.
I've talked to you about it.
Yeah,
you're a close friend, and I
I
haven't told too many people.
No.
But then I realized that I shouldn't be ashamed of it, and I just want to let you know.
I still like you.
I am white, and I'm straight. I like girls, and I am not ashamed of that.
And I support you for that.
So
That's your choice.
Going to call the local media, and possibly get a starting position on an NBA team.
No, see, there's the difference there. You're a white, straight male, but your basketball skills suck.
Oh, yeah, I'm terrible at basketball.
So you maybe go into upper management there, or, maybe in the front office.
It's a good idea. Yeah, I could do that.
But I don't think you're going to get on the court unless you're sweeping it up after the game.
And I've done that. I've had to clean all the black marks off the...
I'm not sure. Never mind.
We'll get into why I felt... I was
Compelled
empowered. I was empowered.
Do you
this
feel
week.
better now that you've
I
made
feel
the
much better now. I'm finally out of the bathroom.
You realize that even the mainstream media doesn't really care about this guy being gay or straight. I mean, the news I'm hearing is like, oh, okay, he's at the end of his career.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
That's what I'm hearing.
It's everywhere. And he was at the end of his career.
Yeah.
And they're saying he's the next Jackie Robinson.
No way.
Yeah. He wasn't even a good basketball player.
Well, okay.
I mean, come on, go ahead.
Now you're throwing me all off. I just want to say welcome to the
Line
show.
4 on the script.
And we're broadcasting from the back room of the Stem and Seeds pub and studio, not Pum, in a large city. In what country, Nate?
The Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
Netherlands today.
We're in here, and I'm telling you, it's smoky.
Yeah, we're actually in a small cafe in Amsterdam.
But I feel good.
Yeah, man, but these brownies.
They're excellent.
They are excellent brownies.
And this is sort of foreshadowing for our guests that we're going to have later. We
like to have ghostly shades of foreshadowing on our show.
We try to be real clever that way. It never really works. But our guest is going to be author Merle Temple. He wrote a book called Ghostly Shade of Pale, which is being pitched for maybe a major motion picture. Merle's a former drug enforcement officer, and we're going to talk a little bit about the war on drugs and what his experiences were and all that stuff later in the show. Until then, we want to remind you this is a live call-in show, except when it's not. You can call in right now at 248-455-ODDS. That's 248-455-6337.
Yeah, we're live Tuesdays, like right now, starting at 7:30 p.m.
But
Eastern. We may change that in the future.
I thought we were. God,
we are.
I was at the pre-meeting.
Yeah, but you were a bit preoccupied at the pre-meeting.
Okay.
We are, in a couple of weeks, we will be switching to Thursdays.
We haven't really determined the time, but we're thinking 8-ish.
Yep, 8-ish. Maybe leave it at 7:30. So if you have a comment on that, go ahead and email us, talk@addoddshow.com. What I was saying is right now we're live, Tuesdays at 7:30, and rebroadcast throughout the week on Red State Talk Radio.
You can visit us on our Facebook page. Like us, please, even if you don't.
Yeah, facebook.com/addoddshow.
And check out our website.
@oddshow.com.
And check out our book.
Our book. We do have a book, don't we?
Yeah.
A nice children's book, myparentsopencarry.com.
Day in the life of Brenna Strong, whose parents open carry a handgun for the protection of themselves and their family. It's a great pro-gun kids book. Available now at that website.
Yeah. myparentsopencarry.com.
Autographs are, we'll probably take a couple of dollars off.
Yeah.
If you'll let us autograph. I don't know.
Please let us.
Please.
It'll greatly depreciate the value, but it's worth it for us.
All right, getting into Jason Collins. Go ahead.
Jason Collins, NBA star, one of the best players they've ever had. He averaged just over 1 point a game or something. Less than four rebounds a game. He's a center.
Yeah, they're talking about it, but there's a lot of negative stuff coming out of there. Like, there's sports writers that are going like, this is nothing. This is,
Well, there's also
the end of his
ESPN
career.
commentators that are coming out as gay too, and it's just this great thing,
Really?
Brian.
Yeah,
Because
I don't care.
who doesn't want to know, right? Because when you watch basketball,
the first thing I think of is gay men,
Oh,
but I
or
do
straight
because they're
men.
wearing
I mean-
they're wearing little shorts and
well,
little
they don't
shirts
anymore.
and-
You haven't watched basketball since the 30s, have you?
56
Yeah.
was the last time.
Yeah, right. So, but I think the NFL's upset a little bit. Roger Goodell's probably upset because they got beat by the NBA by having
I was going
a
to do
player
some great
come out
racial
first.
jokes about basketball in '57, but I won't.
Well, we could talk about Barack Obama, who
What'd
claims
he-
to be a good
what'd he-
basketball player.
what'd he say?
Turns out he's not a good basketball player. But he said the reason he sat the bench in high school is because they played white man's basketball.
And that's not what he's good at.
No, he's not good at
He
white
plays
man's basketball.
black man's game.
You would think he'd be half good at white man's basketball, but
That means he he could do half a layup.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think
Just an up.
well, they don't have world class teams in Indonesia, so he probably was better than the
Oh,
other
geez.
kids that he grew up with. I don't know.
Yeah, because he was 2 feet taller than the average person.
Right? Exactly.
It's my ball. I got it now.
Oh, yeah. This was the biggest part of this story. I forgot to mention this. What do you think happened when Jason Collins, the NBA player who is not that good, came out and said he was gay? Who do you think gave him a phone call?
Pat Robinson.
No, it was actually Barack Obama.
Oh,
Yeah, called him up, said, "Hey, man, you have so much courage. That was just
Make me proud to
awesome,
be an
man.
American."
You make me proud to be an American.
Or
Because I'm
a
for gay
Kenyan,
rights now,
whatever.
even though I wasn't for gay rights. And then I pretended like I was, but I wasn't. But Joe Biden
And man,
made
I
me
really
say
don't give a
was.
crap.
Yeah,
one way
and
or
I'll
the
call
other.
you. But hey, you remember Chris Kyle? You remember that sniper that got killed? The world class sniper. Remember him and the great service he did for the country? I'm just gonna ignore him. But I'll call you to tell you how much courage you have for telling people you're gay.
Well, because Kyle, very much like you, was a straight white man.
Yeah, that's part of it, and praising people for telling everybody they're gay, even though nobody gives a damn, is a good way to get votes in 2014 for the rest of the Democrats. Now,
Yes.
Bill Clinton also came out and said, "Hey, good job." Him and his daughter Chelsea. I wish she would be out in public more
Come out.
often, but
Oh,
he had a press conference today. Barack Obama did.
my stomach is growling.
Yeah, he had a press conference today. He was walking off, when they leave and all the reporters scream questions. People were asking about Jason Collins, and he came back and said, yeah, I'll talk about him. He didn't talk about him the entire time. And then after he was done, he made a point to come back and tell everybody how much courage this guy had to be almost retired and to come out as gay. I just don't get the point. I don't care.
Okay, this is the point. His career's in the toilet. He's trying to get some PR, and somebody's going to offer him a reality TV show.
I think he'll have a contract next year to play.
Oh, I don't think so.
I think he will. Because think of the firestorm that's going to happen if nobody picks him up.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I think Tim Tebow should try it. He just got cut. He should come out as gay.
And both of them are out of work.
Yep.
Do you feel better now that you've ranted?
No.
Oh, okay.
It makes me feel worse. But I do it for the listeners.
Why make them suffer?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, few $1 million, that small amount for you?
Yeah, I mean, pocket change.
Pocket change.
Yeah.
I carry $1 million around with me all the time.
Yeah, you do.
Afghanistan President Karzai calls millions in cash from the CIA a small amount. We call it ghost money, said former chief of staff. They put it on the steps and we bring it in like the newspaper. It's just a little bit of money. It really just pays for our service staff. He doesn't say that, but it comes in secret, and it left in secret. We have no idea where this money goes. Anyways, apparently it comes from the CIA to buy influence, and it's not working.
I don't know about that. Let's be careful there. I think it might be working right to plan.
Too well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How?
Well,
elaborate.
Where's the money going?
We don't know.
Al-Qaeda's on its heels, so it's not going there, right?
It comes in secret, and it leaves in secret.
Not, running weapons in that area or anything either, so who knows where it goes.
I don't know if it's money well spent.
Yeah, well, it's not money well spent when there is...
Considering they're supposed to be an ally anyways.
There is...
And the U.S. put this guy in power.
There is usefulness to foreign aid. To allies, to real allies, when you know where the money's going, you know it's being spent correctly.
Well,
there is not usefulness in wasting foreign aid money when you have to do things like cut tours to the White House, threaten to not have the Easter egg roll, cut, air traffic controllers. When we're suffering because we have to cut spending, that's not when you send millions of dollars to, Karzai. That just doesn't make sense to me. But, I mean, John Kerry hasn't stopped, right? I mean, he's increased the money that's going places, Muslim Brotherhood. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you're going to cut money or cut spending, let's not cut it here and affect us first.
Well, let's segue into that. Despite Army protests, Congress spends $436 million. Oh, it's just a small amount on tanks that the military doesn't really want. Even the Army Chief of Staff says, we could use that money in a lot better ways. We really don't need tanks. But it's funny because the people that are pushing this are congressmen from Ohio, where most of the contract money is going to where they make the Abrams tank and related parts to it. So this is pork. And again, nothing new. It's been going on since the first president became president, and that was, I think that was Grover Cleveland. Wasn't he the first president?
Oh, wow. I thought it was Taft.
I don't know if Taft was the first president or not.
Well, maybe someone will call in or email us.
Polk.
If you know
it was Polk.
Who the first president is, let us know.
Well, anyways, pork's been going on since that guy was president. Whoever it is. I don't know who it is.
I'm not sure.
Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin Taft. That's what I thought.
Franklin Taft. Anyways, this is ridiculous. The Army Chief of Staff says we don't want tanks, but we got to spend the money because my constituents really count on that money. And what's great, is they say, it's good for my local economy because it stimulates everything. But if you realize where that money comes from, us and taxes, maybe I don't want to put money into tanks.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing: it's not necessarily that the money is being spent on the military, because I think the military can use money. There's definitely places that the money could either be reappropriated or saved. But I think if they were given this money and not given a product, tanks, that they don't want, they could put the money to a real purpose to keep us safer rather than just having extra equipment lying around.
But really what it comes down to is, what's going to happen to those tanks?
Training?
No. They're going
to be on Main Street.
Yes, they're going to be on the streets of a city near you very soon. I think that's what this is about.
Why do we chuckle when we talk
we
like that?
Shouldn't, because it's not funny.
Yeah,
it's not funny. I suspect that the civilian police department will be having tanks shortly.
Oh, okay. I was going to say maybe the Department of Homeland Security will.
No. I think it'll be local PDs as
Might
well.
Be. Yeah,
Los Angeles, Boston, New York.
Why not? I mean, drones and tanks. I can't.
They already have
combination.
armored vehicles now with heavy machine guns, so you might as well go with the full thing.
Yikes!
Why even pretend anymore? It was pretty obvious from Watertown in Boston that what their intentions are. I don't think anybody knows. Hey, it's almost time for a break. What do you think?
Yeah, we can take a break. AtOddShow.com.
We'll be back.
Facebook.com/@OddShow.
I like to talk over you.
Yeah, I know. I realize that you like to talk over me, but I don't think you should.
All right, I won't.
All right. Well, we will be right back.
The voice of American conservatism. WRS Digital, Red State Talk Radio.
Fact. U.S. credit card debt is 8 times larger than it was 30 years ago. No wonder you and I are feeling the credit card crunch. You're not alone. Increasing prices and the costs of credit are stretching budgets and preventing people just like us from getting ahead or just catching up with our debts. At American Financial Debt Relief, we can help. We have tested ways to help you get out of debt. Find out how now. The call is free to learn more. If you qualify, we can reduce your interest, show you how to stop your debt from getting larger, and help you get out of debt faster than you can by making minimum payments. So if you're falling behind on your credit cards or medical bills, give us a call right now, where a free 5-minute call can change your life.
800-978-4815. 800-978-4815. Reduce your credit card debt. Call now. 800-978-4815. 800-978-4815.
Real radio for real Americans.
Red State Talk Radio.
What a great party. What's that sign say? DUI, DWI checkpoint ahead, all must stop.
License and registration, please.
Before driving, go to
beforedriving.com.
Check out all the cool stuff for you and your ride at
beforedriving.com.
Of course, you buckle your seatbelt before driving, but first go to
beforedriving.com.
See you at
beforedriving.com.
And together we'll have fun and drive safely.
Obama wants your money, and he's determined to get it. He wants your money to buy off unions, his Wall Street cronies, and to expand the Obama welfare nation. Well, Swiss America is determined to stop him from stealing your money. They want to send you an award-winning film, I Want Your Money, on DVD that exposes his plan. It'll help keep the government's hands off your money using gold, silver, and other hard asset strategies to protect your hard-earned money. Call today and request the DVD, I Want Your Money, normally $19.95, yours absolutely free. Let Swiss America show you how to use gold, silver, and other hard assets to protect your hard-earned money. Call now. 800-932-5146. 800-932-5146. Call Swiss America right now. Learn all about investing in gold. 800-932-5146. 800-932-5146. Call now.
And we're back. Thanks for tuning in to At Odds. Remember, AtOddShow.com, Facebook.com/@OddShow. So, Brian, the gun control crap that they've been trying to push, you think it's going to stick around, or?
No, I think it's dead.
You think it's dead, and
yeah.
they're not going to try again?
No. Why are you looking at what Joe Biden said with his little meeting he had with the 15 participants of the largest anti-gun organizations in the country?
Yeah.
Are you talking about that?
That's kind of what I'm talking about, yeah.
And he says, "We have not given up. We will get all the guns. Trust in me. I know what I'm doing. I've been studying the Mein Kampf, and I've been studying the Communist Manifesto, and all of these things, and they say, get the guns out of the people's hands.
Yeah, but surely he's been studying the Constitution and Federalist Papers as well.
No, we can't need those because the Constitution needs to be changed. We cannot, it's living and breathing, and it's subject to the whims of the administration that's in power now, and that's the Communist Party.
Well, I'll tell you, Joey, I never knew you to have an Austrian accent.
I don't know if it's Austrian or Russian or German because I keep mixing them up all the time.
Is it?
I drift in and out.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I mean, when you're a fraud, you're a fraud. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Despite last week's defeat of a bipartisan measure, we will expand background checks at gun shows and online sales. It's just a beginning. We will have the guns. And the groups are Mayors Against Illegal Guns. It should just say Mayors Against All Guns. The Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence, which should be the Brady Campaign to Take All Guns. The Center for American Progress, which should be the Center for Disarming All Americans. And Moms Demand Action. Oh, and a couple representatives of law enforcement. Even though all the polls that we see show that the average policeman on the street is all for individual gun owners and gun rights. It's just the political law enforcement that seems to be the ones that are against it.
Yeah, we know about the moms a little bit, the moms that demand action. We met some of them.
We did.
At Capitol in Lansing.
Was
so that
not
was fun.
Impressed.
No, I wasn't either, really. Turns out they just had the same misinformation to spout out.
You ask them, what's an assault weapon? Well, I really don't know. That's a tough question. It's very technical. It depends on who you ask. And what is it? What's an assault weapon? How is it different from my dad's deer rifle? Well, it's they're very similar, but they're different.
I'll tell you.
One's much more dangerous than the other.
The one man who I don't think is a mom that was there, Tom, he went ahead and said, well, yeah, assault weapons, we need to get rid of them, but I'll have to look at Obama's bill to define what an assault weapon is. Well, how the hell do you know that we need to get rid of them?
If you don't know what it is.
If you don't know what it is, you're going to just trust one of the most dishonest people that we have running this country and just assume that he knows what an assault weapon is. Have you seen the guy trying to shoot skeet? Neither have I.
Yeah. Well, there is backlash. Remember, there are a lot of pro-gun people out there. Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah, like all the sporting goods stores, right? They're all pro-gun.
Not all of them.
Well, you know how how they make their profits selling to outdoorsmen and sportsmen.
Yeah, and they sell
generally
guns,
pro-gun
ammunition,
people.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Except for Dick's Sporting Goods. There are actually anti-open carry as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they said that after Sandy Hook and all that they're going to take all those black rifles off the shelf. And in fact, as you know, it was, around, Christmas time or right after Christmas where they had tons of pre-orders for Black Friday specials. And they said, oops, we know you'd like to get all those great guns at those great values, but we're not going to sell them anymore. We're just going to return your money. And, their sales have really dropped. And their stocks value has dropped as well. Now, the CEO says, well, it's not the gun issue. It's the Lance Armstrong issue.
Oh, give me a break.
People had a very negative reaction to the Live Strong brand. Really? I didn't even know Dick's carried that. I don't think it had anything to do with Lance Armstrong. I think it had everything to do with their view on guns. They really turned their back on, a large segment of
law-abiding citizens, people who would have bought the firearm through them with a background check.
Yep.
Since they are a federally licensed firearms dealer.
And the other thing that was in the article I read was that many of the other sporting goods stores, major ones, sales have increased. And
isn't that interesting?
And shown higher profits because people are buying more and more guns. And if Dick's wants to get out of that, that's fine. What about Governor Pat Quinn in Illinois? Remember, they have to come up with a concealed carry law or it goes to constitutional carry based on a court decision. he knows that he's screwed. So what he's saying, he's fighting very hard to have give the choice to the cities on concealed carry. Let them decide. Because he's trying to save Chicago so they can, still ban concealed carry there. Apparently, Illinois is one of the states that does have a lot of home rule. I guess where apparently the local governments can have stricter laws than the state can or something. But that's just going to create this patchwork of laws. You're going to drive from one city to the next, and one city you're lawful, and the next city you got you're unlawful. And how do you keep track of that? Come on.
Yeah, sure. Well, they already have that patchwork situation with ownership, right, and storage and things of firearms, because you can't own a handgun in Chicago, but outside of Chicago, you
can.
And that's the weird thing about Illinois is all of the other counties besides is it Cook County, I think?
Yeah, Cook County.
They're generally red counties. I mean, they lean Republican.
Yep.
But just there's the density in Chicago. Yeah. We have the same issue in Michigan.
Right.
Generally
Detroit
with Detroit,
yep.
Lansing, Grand Rapids. And all of the people up north who ironically work in oil fields largely and tend to be Democrats, which doesn't make any sense to me. But what are you going to say?
Well, before we get to our call, we have some good news. We like to end on good news, don't we?
Yeah, that's been our mantra.
We're surprised that we don't put bullets in our heads after every show, but Twinkies are back.
Oh, that is good news.
That
is good news.
A private equity group called Apollo Global Management and Metropolis and Company has bought the Hostess brand, paid $410 million to get Hostess, Dolly Madison's, and other various snack cakes and all their other little lines, as well as 5 plants as part of the company's liquidation process. They plan to open up a couple of stores pretty soon and hope to have Twinkies and other products on the shelves by the end of July. So you'll be able to have a Twinkie again.
Yeah, and I've been having withdrawals. My supply is starting to get low.
You only bought like 17,000 Twinkies, didn't you?
Yes. I'm going to go with that number because it makes me sound less greedy than
it was higher. I know your IRA and your 401k is shot to hell, but
well, I thought I made a good investment.
You thought, but you had to know someone was going to bring back Twinkies.
Yeah.
If it could have been the Chinese, but somebody would have been making Twinkies.
My roadside Twinkie shop worked pretty well for a couple months though. So
till demand shut you down.
Yeah, that's
too many regulations.
Yeah, and it's true. We can't have a lemonade stand in front of my current house without a health inspection. It's just absurd. And of course, I've never done it because that would be breaking the law. And I'm not a big fan of Judas Priest.
And didn't your daughter make quite a bit of money on the lemonade stand?
No,
I think she did.
No,
not at all.
I can truthfully say no. She did not make a lot of money on a lemonade stand.
Okay, I don't think you can truthfully say that.
Yes, I can.
Why? Because your cut was so big?
No, because she's never had a lemonade stand.
I see. You're going to go with that. I have photographic evidence. You didn't know that, did you? I have pictures.
I didn't, but that's creepy. That's creepy. I'm going to dial the number here. What's the number?
I don't know. Are we going to do an ad or not?
You want to? We're getting close to time here, so
yeah, we're about a minute from the top of the hour or so. I don't know. We can talk about one more thing. The poor little kid that's going to have to stand trial for calling somebody a horse and a fat ass and stuff. An 8th grader, apparently in New Jersey, they have a law that if you bullying law, if you bully somebody, they can take you to court and you can have a trial and all this stuff. And he called somebody fat and they didn't like it. And this is something I guess could follow him the rest of his life.
What really needs to happen is the other children need to be taught to stand up for people that are being bullied, because I do think bullying is an issue.
Well,
I don't think the government needs to step in.
I think it always has been.
I think
I think bullying's been around as long as there's been schools.
Oh, sure, but you remember the...
and I was that fat kid.
Well, and you're stronger than most children. So.
I don't know about that.
But with all the self-esteem courses that children are forced to take nowadays, those really seem to be working out, don't they?
We're all winners.
Yeah. I mean, you really need to try to get, it's tough, but children need to learn, stand up for people that are being picked on. I think that the proper thing to do when you see it is go get an adult or, stand up and say, hey, shut your mouth.
Do you have to get state laws enacted, though?
That's what I'm saying. No, I don't think the government needs to be involved, but they are involved by default because it's public schools.
Yeah, I don't know.
Facebook.com/@oddshow, @oddshow.com. We'll be back hopefully with Merle Temple.
Red State Talk Radio.
The idea of government taking over healthcare is enough to make you sick.
The conservative voice.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-800-257-2873. 1-800-257-2873. 1-800-257-2873. That's 1-800-257-2873.
Great shot, Bob. I think you're on.
I just followed your lead.
Hey, by the way, did you break ground on your new building?
No way. I'm holding off until I see what the future holds.
So you're seeing a fortune teller?
You know what I mean. Things look a little uncertain.
The only thing certain in business is if you're not growing, you're losing. And we just opened our 5th facility last week. If you're following my lead, you'll call General Steel. Their pre-engineered steel buildings could save you as much as half the cost compared to conventional buildings. And they're up in nearly half the time, and backed with a 50-year structural warranty.
Yeah, but steel buildings...
Hey, you've seen my building. Does it look like steel?
No, it looks great.
Ask about rebates that could save you up to $20,000. Look, you can stop paying rent and own a building that suits your business better and probably saves you money by operating more efficiently. In times like these, don't stop spending, just spend wisely.
800-398-8309, 800-398-8309, 800-398-8309, 800-398-8309.
Red State Talk Radio.
Why spend more than you have to on your life insurance? Did you know that term life insurance rates have fallen over 60% in the last 15 years? At the Life Insurance Quote Line, we monitor the rates, features, and financial strength of hundreds of life insurance products. For example, a healthy 40-year-old can protect his family with $500,000 of 10-year level term for less than $20 a month. Rates for women are even lower. And don't forget to ask us about the new term life policies that guarantee your money back even if you don't die. Since 1986, we've helped tens of thousands of people just like you save a fortune on their life insurance. Why not find out how much you can save? Write down this number and call today for your free quote. 1 5-minute call is all it takes. Call 800-610-3497. 800-610-3497. That's 800-610-3497. Rates, policy forms, and availability vary by state.
And we're back. We do have a guest on the phone. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Merle Temple. He was the first captain in the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics in the 1970s and a graduate of the DEA Academy in Washington during the early days of President Nixon's first drug wars. He was held hostage while working undercover. He later met a man hired by organized crime to kill him in a standoff near Memphis and was involved in a gun battle with drug dealers in a heroin deal gone sour. He later was appointed as Georgia's Deputy Superintendent of Education. Merle is the author of the novel A Ghostly Shade of Pale, which will be shipped in a couple of weeks. I'm told you can pre-order it through his website, which we'll give you, as well as Amazon.com. It's inspired by his experience in the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics. He's in the process of writing a sequel. a rented world based on events in the Bell system and politics. You can visit his website, A Ghostly Shade of Pale. Welcome to the show, Merle.
Well, hi, guys. It's nice to be on with you all. I realized from reading your website that you two guys are the only people I need to listen to from now on.
That's exactly right.
That's right. You can forget what everybody else told you. Just listen to us.
Well, at least I might, I don't know, I might have to listen to Nate more since he's a staunch conservative.
Right. I'm just a moderate, but some things we agree on, some things we don't.
Yeah.
That's why it's at odds. But lately we've been agreeing on a lot of things.
We definitely agree on the gun control issues,
yeah,
so that's good.
We were talking about that earlier. But why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your book, who the main character is, sort of what the plot of the novel is.
Well, Ghostly Shade of Pale is the first in a trilogy, we hope. It's fiction, but it's based on things, a lot of things that really happened to me fresh out of Ole Miss. In the early 70s, President Nixon had just declared his first war on drugs, and so that's what reorganized everything in Washington, and a lot of the customs and the BNDD and a lot of other things were consolidated into the DEA. A lot of power consolidated there. They probably were still paying for it, but that's another story. But the states began to model state drug laws after that and scheduling the drugs and everything, and that's when the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics was created. And so I went right to work for them right out of college. I really didn't know what I was getting into because we'd come out of a different America than the one that we were entering, and drug use in those days was virtually inseparable from political statements. The war was dragging on. There was a lot of protest. The drug subculture was a manifestation of a lot of young people, too, rebelling against mom and daddy's values. And, there was a lot of unrest in the country, but it really a rich time to draw from a novelist. And a lot of things happened to us in those days, some good, some bad, some very tragic. So we tried to be faithful and true to the people there who lived through it. Some made it and some didn't.
So, yeah, your book is kind of a flashback to the 70s, right? It doesn't take place now, but it takes place during the time period that you just were talking about, right?
Yeah, they're old Tupelo, Mississippi, where I'm from, the cradle of rock and roll, Elvis's birthplace, up to Memphis. And that era all live again in Ghostly. And so I think people who live through that time will enjoy it, and I think also people who didn't will find maybe that there's a history that they thought they knew, but perhaps they didn't. And this is kind of a behind-the-scenes look at what it was really like in those days.
Well, it sounds really interesting. I hear that it's being pitched as a movie, so it could be in theaters sometime in the future.
Well, we certainly hope so. That would be wonderful. Criminal Minds, Jim Clemente at Criminal Minds read the manuscript early on and loved it. He gave us a quote for the front of the book, which has really opened a lot of doors for us.
Sure.
And they're pitching it out in Hollywood now. Jim and I are friends on Facebook, and the other day I saw that Robert De Niro was over at his house, and I thought, well, this is getting real.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So anyway, it's a blessing, and we're already writing the sequel to it, and all drawn from my experiences of the 3 or 4 lives that I've lived in one. And it's been quite a life. But like I said, it's just I've been in some author forums, and everybody said, well, where do you get your inspiration? And some say, well, I meditate a lot, and some say I have a vivid imagination, and so on. And I said, I just remember.
Yeah, I was going to say you lived a lot of this.
Yeah. Going back to that, I believe early on, I saw you worked actually for the FBI. Is that correct?
Yeah, I went adventurous young country bumpkin. 1966, a week after I graduated, I boarded a train from Corinth, Mississippi, and went to Washington to be a fingerprint technician for the FBI. And actually, by twist of many twists, I got to meet J. Edgar Hoover.
Wow.
And a lot of people who worked there for 20 years had never met him, but he came to church where I went to church. It was built on the site where he was born, and they dedicated a big stained glass window there to him, and he came with a bevy of agents with him, too.
For the dedication of that, huh? Well, that must have been pretty cool.
I've been fortunate in my life because I have lived so many lives in one, and I have met I met a good many of the towering figures, I guess you would say, of the 20th century, and Ronald Reagan, and I met Margaret Thatcher and had a chance to talk to her, and just countless congressmen and senators and governors and ambassadors and that kind of stuff, and many stories.
Well, why don't you mentioned Reagan? I know you worked with him and actually met him and worked with him in his first campaign. Tell us something about Reagan, and if you have a story or something about what he was like. Well,
it was a thrill for me because many of us who came up, he was, we were for him in '76, and it was crushing to see him come so close to getting the nomination, but some things are meant to be in another time, and I think his time was perfect in many ways for him to come in 1980, and I went up to about 3 weeks before the election. And in the fall, I went to with his Southern Finance chairman. I drove him up, and through a long series of luck and chance, and just jumping through a window when you see a window of opportunity open, I got to be at the ranch house with Reagan before the stagecoach came to get him to take him over to the area where they had grandstands and barbecue pits and everything political Americana set up. And so I got a chance to be alone with him there, and it was just a thrill of a lifetime for me.
Well, you don't you have a picture of that on your website of him on the wagon train or on the stagecoach?
I do have many pictures I took that day on the stagecoach. I believe I sent y'all one.
Yeah.
So anybody who would like to have one can contact me. They can contact me through my website, merletemple.com, and that's where they can come to reserve a copy of the book now, which will be out in a couple of weeks. But you can go there and reserve one, or at Amazon. But if you come to mine, you can tell me how you'd like the book inscribed, and also if you're a Reagan fan and would like a picture, I'd be glad to share with you.
Well, that's awful nice.
That's very cool. What was the early days of the drug war like? What was your training like? How did you get into it? And what was the overall perception of these people that you were looking for? You're trying to stop the drugs.
The goal maybe of
Sure.
Well, it was an entirely different time than it is now, and I would say that in many respects, I think law enforcement was entirely different than it is now. We were not, there was not the military or aspect that you see now.
Yeah.
So much. We were guys who actually believed in the Constitution.
All right.
And we, or my unit, the north half of the state, which I became the first captain of, we were never sued for abusing our authority. We had a strict thing that if we were ambushed, if we were put in harm's way, we would do what we had to protect one another and to protect bystanders. But saying that, we knew that we were not judge and jury. We were just there to enforce the laws as they were, and it was not our place to go beyond that.
So you found the Watertown, Boston martial law distasteful, I'm hoping.
Well, I think some of the video I've seen out of that, I just found chilling.
Yeah.
I really do. As a person who loves the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, I found that chilling, and I think, had that happened back in our day, I don't think it could have happened.
Yeah, I don't think
and if it did, there would have been an outpouring of outrage.
Yeah. Well, getting back to your early days there, you mentioned that you were in some shootouts and you were held hostage. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, in the early days, there weren't very many of us, and so when I first went in right out of Ole Miss, we were working pretty much lone wolf, and so I was working down in South Mississippi, and some heroin dealers who had just gotten out of Angola prison, and there was a drug deal arranged through an intermediary. They showed up early and surprised me. And next thing I know, they want to do the deal early, so we go down in this swamp in the middle of the night, and it's everything you can see out of a B horror movie.
Right, it didn't look good.
That night, down to the moss dragging over the roof of your cars, where the highway ended and the road ended and the path began, and you wound up at this little shack down there near the swamp. And when I went in that night, they had just decided to kill me, keep their drugs and keep their money too. And so they put a pistol to my forehead and a shotgun in my stomach, and wound up sitting there talking to me with 1-8 razor blade, the old double-edged Gillette razor blade.
Oh, geez. That
night, and then swallowed fire. And it was a time when I really didn't think I would live to see the sunrise that morning. It was about midnight that night, but as fate would have it, many prayers went up, and I convinced them that it was in their best interest to do business with me, not to kill me, and because they didn't know who I was, of course.
Right.
And so I finally got out of that situation, which looked very bad at one time, and then later we hit an organized crime stronghold just south of Memphis, and some people didn't like that too much, and two hitmen lured me out under the pretense of giving me information, and it just became a standoff with me holding my gun and them holding theirs, and alongside of I-55, and then later my men and I were doing a heroin deal, and during the buy bust, we didn't know that they had a sniper sitting on the railroad trestle covering the deal, and when we went to arrest them, they opened fire on us, and it was a terrible gun battle ensued.
Oh my goodness! So that's, I can imagine.
And so
frightening.
It was a different time, and like I said, all the guys I worked with, they were the vast majority of them were good people. There were some who lost themselves, their moral center, trying to work within a subculture that they just weren't prepared to deal with. And there were some who, in a line of duty, were killed. And it's a tough thing to see, a young officer that works for you and who you think the world of, lying in his coffin at 26.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you think the entire war on drugs was well-intentioned and well-conceived? I mean, do you think it's made a difference, or at least early on, was it poised to make a difference?
Well, we were young, and we were all college-educated, kind of what they called the new centurions in those days, recruited to up the standards of professionalism in the profession. And we were gung-ho and believed in the rightness of our cause in those days, that we were, we're saving people, young kids who people were peddling hard drugs to. And there were many stories where probably some people who were using drugs because of our presence, they did get a second chance at life, and we intervened in different ways, and probably did save some people, but it was a tough thing, because as my former director said, even back then, it was like trying to dam up the Mississippi River with a shovel.
Yeah.
And so it was a tough thing, and I think over time, I think our original mission, has been lost, and anytime any effort, no matter how it's conceived, evolves to the point where it threatens civil liberties, and you need to back up and take a look.
Well, how do you feel about legalizing drugs now? I mean, there's some states, at least with marijuana, that have legalized it. There's been a lot of states that have taken on the medical marijuana and stuff like that, being for civil liberties. Do you think that the drug war should continue, or should it be legalized like cigarettes and alcohol are?
Well, I watch all of that, the different manifestations of it, and I will say this, and I think the penalties for, especially at the federal level, have gotten so out of hand, that many people are being imprisoned for very long, draconian sentences, who basically are nonviolent. They may be people who use drugs, got hooked on some drugs, and maybe they may have gotten into some low-level dealing or something. And I'm not saying they should get a pass, but I'm saying, you don't lock those people up for 10 years. I believe that you save your prison space for the people who truly scare us and who pose a serious and immediate threat, to our families.
Well, yeah, sure. Merle Temple, author of A Ghostly Shade of Pale, on the line here. Why don't you quickly, we have just a couple minutes left, tell us what the sequel's going to be about. If you have a date on that, great, when that will be available, and how to get your current book.
Yeah, well, the sequel will probably be out sometime, I would guess, in 2014, but the Ghostly Shade of Pale will be shipped from the printers in about 2 weeks. We're taking reservations now on merletemple.com, MERLETEMPLE.com, and Amazon.com, I think, is taking pre-orders also, and later it will be on Barnes & Noble, too. So I think it's a very different kind of book. Jim Clemente at Criminal Minds called it a big crime story as literature. So it was big and complex, he said, but beautifully sinister, according to Jim. He said, wow. He said it immerses the reader in a feeling of absolute reality. So that's quoting Jim. I don't know, but I sure appreciate those kind words.
Yeah, very good. Well, if you go on tour with the book signing or something, you end up in Michigan, definitely send us an email or something. Let us know. We'd like to meet you.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to come up there, and I've got some friends up that way, and who knows, we're setting up book signing parties everywhere, and an excuse to get out on the road and travel and see good people.
Yeah, sure. We're in the state capital area, Lansing, Michigan area. So if you're anywhere around the state capital, give us a call.
And you've been around the Tupelo area, right, most of your life, or you grew up there? You live there now, correct?
Yeah, I've come home. Yeah, I grew up here and come back.
So, did you see Elvis around town, or is he still there?
Well, he's here in spirit.
Yeah,
There's a million
sure.
Elvis stories here in town. He used to slip in here from Memphis. As a matter of fact, I was in Memphis Saturday with George Klein, the legendary DJ up there, and really best friend I think Elvis ever had. And so we're probably going to wind up on Sirius Radio, we hope, on the Elvis channel, cool, talking about it, because Elvis does make an appearance in this novel.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I wish you the best of luck with the book, and especially making it into a movie. That'd be great. I'd love to see that. And
I'm a great extra in movies too, so if that comes up, I mean, you have my email.
Well, you guys would probably wouldn't be surprised at how many people are already volunteering.
Yeah, I know. I know. But Nate and I, we'd be perfect drug dealers. We're kind of slimy and nasty and. Yeah. Anyways,
maybe you,
maybe me.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've got a part for y'all, but I think they get killed early.
That's perfect. Yeah, just like our careers.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. We thank you for spending time with us tonight, and best of luck with the book. All right.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
And you be careful.
All right. I will. You too.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Well, that was kind of cool.
Yeah. MERLETemple.com. Check that out.
I mean. How many former drug guys you get to talk about the heyday of the war on drugs?
Well, geez, I
mean,
from
the beginning.
Worked for the FBI, worked for the drug war on Nixon, worked on Reagan's campaign. He, I mean,
he's done a lot of other stuff. I didn't even go.
A lot of stuff.
You can check his website to see his whole bio, but
huge music buff too. The rockabilly
yeah, I guess
scene and stuff.
I guess he loves the music.
I heard him talking about that, and man, I wish we would have had some time to get into that. But we are actually pretty much out of time here.
Yeah, you've wasted another perfectly good hour listening to At Odds with Nate and Brian.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Like us on Facebook.
Yeah,
please.
really do that.
Facebook.com/AtOddsShow.
And send us money.
Send us money.
And you can send cash, money orders, bearer bonds, anything.
Yeah, euros.
Well, we'll take cheap wine if you want to ship cheap wine.
Expensive wine.
Yeah.
You know what you could do? Head over to atoddshow.com and click on the Wine Globe ad.
Yep.
Buy anything on that website.
And send it to us.
Send it to us.
We'll
or the old time candy ad. Click there.
We'll eat candy too.
We'll eat the candy with the wine.
Which is funny because our next door neighbor came over selling candy for his band, for the marching band in school, and my wife bought 1,500 boxes or something like that. Yeah.
Did you tell her you could have bought that in bulk and go to our website?
Oldtimecandy.com.
Yeah. All right. Well, we want to thank you for listening.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
See you next week.